one of the fine example of what the traditional phrase is philosopher king, but here I will say philosopher administrator, rightly pointed out by Principal Mr. Shri Dodawatji, and that he is not only an able administrator but also a scholar. Welcome all of you to Raj Bhavan. Would like to congratulate you for completing your training successfully. And now you are ready to fly. You will go to different districts and do your duties as administrators in Kerala. Jay Kumar Sahab made a wonderful point that you must develop understanding of the people. He used the word Kerala psyche, where you are able to understand the mind, psyche, attitudes of the people. Of the society, because you will be entrusted with the responsibility of administration of this society. This is, to my mind, this is the basic requirement for the success of any person who is in public life, whether an elected official, appointed official, or administrator. And India being an ancient country, an ancient society, please spare some time every day to read some ancient classic or scripture. Because just modern writings will not be able to equip you with that capability. Find time. I know you will be very busy, very occupied, but still you can find some time. If I use the words, it's like every individual has her or his own genius, some special trait about him. So is the case with the societies. What is the genius of India? What is the genius of Kerala? If I use the words of Gurudev Rabindranath Tagore, he said, in fact, I would like to refer to two quotes from him. First thing, to understand the genius of India, he said, India cannot attain true independence unless it is recognized that her foundation is in mind, which with its diverse powers and confidence in those powers goes on all the time creating Swaraj for itself. Our civilization has been described not if we describe, that is not important. 1,000 years back, our country, our culture, our civilization has been described a country which promotes acquisition of knowledge and wisdom, a culture and civilization which is identified with promotion of knowledge and wisdom. Others have described India like that. Then secondly, he said that I love India, not because I cultivate the idolatry of geography, not because I have had the good fortune to be born in her soil. But I love India because she has, through tumultuous ages, saved the living words which issued from the illuminated consciousness of her children. Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma Shantam Shivam Advaitam. So, once, like Swami Vivekananda said, India has only two ideals: renunciation and service. Intensify her in these two channels, the rest will take care of itself. My humble submission is that even the understanding of renunciation and service will come only we have adequate knowledge. We understand our ethos, our values, our ideas. And for that, you normally I do not like to advise people, and particularly I totally refrain from preaching something which I myself don't do. So, here I can take the risk of advising you that there is a line which comes from our ancient text, Tapa Swadhyaya Nirittam, ever devoted to the pursuit of knowledge. This world is changing so rapidly. You have to keep yourself updated. There are so many people, so very learned people, but unable to deal with this situation because the knowledge which they acquired belonged to the times gone by, and they did not try to update themselves. So this process of learning, pursuit of knowledge, is something which one can say should continue from womb to tomb. And I hope you will consider this advice of mine seriously. As far as the administration is concerned, I will just speak on these 2 points, then floor is open to you. There are so many. Sometime in 1886 or around that period, Woodrow Wilson wrote a paper on public administration. And in the Western world, as a branch of knowledge, science, public administration became a subject only after that paper was published. But India, our tradition of administration is very ancient. Instead of going into the details of that tradition, I will just refer to one. It's a small anecdote. After Mahabharata, when the rule of the Pandavas was established, few or many years after that, the elders of the society, of the household, they said, now time for us is to leave for forest as per the old system of Varnashram. Pandavas tried to persuade them not to go to the forest, but they refused. And finally, the day came when they had to leave. All the Pandavas were Yudhishthira was the king, accompanied by his brothers. He walked with Dhritarashtra, Gandhari and his mother Kunti some distance. And after going some distance, Mother Kunti said to Yudhishthira, not to them, said to Yudhishthira. And I find the whole concept of good administration has been encapsulated in those two phrases. She said, Nirvat Sua Kuru Shresht Bhim Siya Divi Saha Dharmete Dhyatam Buddhi Mansate Mahadastucha. Yudhishthira, now go back with your brother Bhim and your other brothers. You have the duty to run the administration. You are king. How you should conduct your affairs. Dharmete dhyatam buddhi. Your reason, your intelligence must be rooted in righteousness. Dharma is not going to temple or mosque or church. Dharma is righteous. It's the code of civilization or code of conduct. That should be your mind, your dharmete dhyatam buddhi. Your reason and intelligence must be established in dharma. That is righteousness. Mansate mahdastucha. Manas, which includes both your heart and mind. That should be expanded, and it should be wide enough to take care of everybody. Where you are able to do justice to all manner of people. And there, not just all manner of people, but then who will have the priority? The weakest, the poorest, and if I use the words of Mahatma Gandhi, the last man. Mahatma Gandhi said that whatever, and more so as administrators, that whatever you are going to do, just measure on the yardstick whether your action is going to benefit the last person. Man does not mean man. Man includes women also. Which is the weakest link of the chain? In olden times when people used to draw water from the well, the bucket which they will attach to the rope or chain will be of the size where the weakest portion of the weakest link of the chain or the rope, it can take the weight of. You can't, on the basis of the strong part of the chain, you can't attach a bucket to the chain to draw water. It will be on the basis of the weakest part of the rope. That is to your reason established in righteousness. Your mind and heart should be big to accommodate everybody, and priority is given to be given to the last man. And I think, you can write theses, you can write books. Somebody like Jayakumar Sahab can enlighten us more on this subject. But I feel here is, or if you allow me 2 more minutes, and there is another very powerful I would say advice, it is a prescription. You appear for the examination. These are the qualifications which prescribed qualifications. Only if you have these qualifications, then you can appear in this examination. Or admission in the university, competitive examinations particularly. Only if you fulfill the prescribed qualifications, conditions, then you can apply for a job. The Indian tradition has clearly prescribed the conditions for anybody and everybody who is in public life, in any capacity. For those who run the affairs of the society, you are no less important than those who are elected by the people, or because they formulate the policies and you implement them. So the prescribed quality is, or qualifications are, Sarve Tyaga Raj Dharmeshu Dirishta, Sarve Diksha Raj Dharmeshu Yukta, Sarve Vidya Raj Dharmeshu Chokta, Sarve Loka Raj Dharma Pravishta. Anybody who aspires to serve the people, he must be ready to make supreme sacrifice anytime. Must be well versed with the principles of good conduct, sanskar, diksha. Must have trained himself, or must continue to train herself or himself in all kind of knowledge. And again the same thing. Sarve Loka Raj Dharma Pravishta. Public life, administrator's life means that you will have to keep your doors open to all kind of people. All kind of people. So, to my mind, these are the principles which come from ancient India. Our history does not start from 16th or 17th century. It goes back to 4,000 years, or maybe more than that. We have a very rich legacy, but to rest in the consciousness that we have inherited something unique is absolutely fatal. What we have inherited must be invested in new ventures, and we must keep moving forward. With this, I give you my best wishes, all success in your career, and success to me is how best you serve the people of Kerala. Thank you very much. Jai.
With the idea of knowledge and the pursuit for knowledge. That's a word from, not from myself, but from the whole team of Kerala Administrative Service. I'm Ashwin P. Kumar, hailing from Trivandrum. My question starts from where you have just ended. Kerala is a unique state, comparing with other places, where in other states there are developmental issues that's going on. But in Kerala, we have a set of second generation issues. Maybe with the developmental aspects, with the demography that we have. According to you, what would be the yardsticks and what would be the better solutions that we as administrators need to keep in mind so that we could sail much better and stay ahead from other states in controlling and containing such matters and issues? Thank you.
The central services, we had invited the successful candidates and their families, and they had assembled here only. And at the end of my remarks, I said, now I am going to say something which possibly you will not like. I don't want any one of you to come back to Kerala. Go to other cadres. Because there is, I agree with you, there is something unique about Kerala. But that uniqueness, developmental issues, I won't agree much. Because there are other states who are doing equally well. And maybe some states who are doing even better. But there is one thing unique about Kerala. And maybe one or two small states in northeast, they have that feature in common with Kerala. And that is that what Dr. Radhakrishnan has said, that if you want to live a civilized existence, then cultivation of compassion is absolutely essential. You must have a sense of compassion in your behavior. And he says that to women, compassion comes naturally. Men must make conscious efforts to cultivate this quality. I find that is unique in Kerala. People care for each other. Somebody in distress, any person who sees the person in distress rushes to help the distressed person. That I find very unique. But even if I accept what you have said, today Kerala has major issues. I'm saying here, as the head of the state, I don't feel proud of the fact that our major sources of revenue are lottery and liquor. I feel ashamed. In a state like Kerala, which other state runs the lottery? Has any one of you who are sitting here ever bought a lottery ticket? Whom we are fleecing? Very poor people. So that we can pay salary to our employees. Are you happy with this situation? The kind of the main sources of revenue. The third main source of revenue is tourism. And there I strongly feel that the major contribution is to build this sector and to make Kerala tourism popular are the private players, the Ayurveda people. That possibly is the reason we attract more foreign tourists than the domestic tourist. So Kerala has major issues. Don't be under this impression that Kerala issues are different. No, we do not have industry has been driven away. Hardly any prominent business. Do you know this year 38 candidates who have been successful in the IAS, they have competed successfully. Overwhelming majority of them have graduated from universities outside Kerala. And those who have graduated, a small number out of those 38, those who have graduated from Kerala, they have spent 1 year either in Bangalore or in Chennai for coaching. So my feeling is that we are facing major issues. I started with this statement that our genius is knowledge. For knowledge, education is absolutely essential. I'm proud of the school system of Kerala. We have wonderful school system. But every bright student after 10+2 wants to run away from Kerala. I met a group in Delhi. And I asked them, in fact, I invited them, Kerala students there, so some of them I invited, come, we will just discuss things. So I asked this question. I said, going to other states or to other countries, that is not a problem. It only shows that you have an open mind and you are outgoing type. You want to know. If traveling itself, living in an atmosphere and environment which is different from your background is itself a source of education. So I said, I find nothing wrong with it. But I want to know your reason to come to Delhi and not pursue higher studies in Kerala. I said, I'm not trying to discourage you. It's perfectly fine with me. But I want to know. Then one of them who looked very bright, he said, sir, if I take a course which should be completed in 4 years' time, normally it takes 5.5 years in Kerala. Every day there is some call for a strike. These issues, should we ignore these issues? Political party, youth wing, student wing, I would say even NGOs. Why we form these associations? Because unfortunately we have people in this society who are voiceless. People in this society who cannot secure their own rights. Therefore, more conscientious people, they get together, they form these organizations, and I'm including every organization, right from political party to the NGOs, so that they can become voice of the voiceless, so that they can take up issues on behalf of those who themselves lack that capability. That is the purpose. What we are witnessing, joining a particular organization makes me member of an elite group, privileged, that ensures certain privileges for me. Whether it is in the matter of appointment, it is in the matter of admission to various courses in the universities. Are we not every day coming across these incidents? Do they not upset us? In a democracy, people's will must be respected. And people's will, as expressed through majority party, can prevail only if it is in accord with the laws and the constitution. This is not my sentence. This is the observation made by Honorable Supreme Court in the case when Shrimati J. Jayalalitha, although the court had already pronounced the judgment that she is not qualified to be MLA. But her party secured majority, and the majority elected her leader, hoping that within next 6 months, she was not MLA, but they were hoping that within next 6 months, either the High Court judgment will be reversed by the Supreme Court or something will happen. They elected her leader, and the governor had thought that he has no option, and he administered the oath of office to Shrimati J. Jayalalitha. Supreme Court came down heavily on the governor and said the office of the governor cannot use his powers in violation of the constitution and the laws. A person who is disqualified to be MLA, how can you administer her oath of chief minister? Our democracy means we are a rule of law society. And rule of law society means, be you ever so high, the law is above you. The rule of law society means one with law is majority. Or we keep talking about majority, minority, and all this is part of our colonial heritage. By now we must have stopped using this idiom and terminology. But unfortunately, even if you change the law, you change the constitution, it takes time to change the habits. We still use the same idiom and terminology which was made popular to deepen the divisions in this society. We are still using that language. Now today, one who is with law is majority. Majority cannot be on the basis of religion or community or caste or anything. Britishers, they did not recognize India as a nation. Therefore, if you go to them, if you go to them, when people used to go to them, then they will say, talk about your community. India is not a nation. India is a conglomeration of various castes and communities. Britishers had taken that decision, conscious decision. The first minister of the British government after 1857, who held the charge of India, George Hamilton, his minutes are there, you can find it even on internet. The first file which went to him, he writes, it's a very, very difficult decision to make. If we adopt constitutional measures and take action which gives rise to unity of action and thought among Indians, then it will be politically highly dangerous. If we do otherwise, it will create problems for the administrators on the ground. But taking everything into consideration, the later course is advisable. This idiom and terminology was introduced by the Britishers. We are still using that. Now, according to the Constitution, a citizen is the building block of the nation. Under the constitutional scheme during colonial period, my rights were determined on the basis which community I belong to, which religion I belong to. Now my rights are guaranteed as citizen of India. So we need to revisit many of these assumptions and concepts which have lasted too long. And they have a very, in my view, they have a baneful impact on our polity, on our society. And always, my desire shall be not to go ahead of others, but to set as an example so that others also can follow me to that place. I don't want to have that sense of superiority. But I want to have that sense. I want to feel proud of the fact that in my society, people do not ignore the distressed person. And again, I would say that possibly that element of compassion which I admire greatly in Kerala society is because this was a matriarchal society. The women were the dominant actors in the society. And as Dr. Radhakrishnan has said, the compassion comes to women naturally. Men must make conscious efforts to cultivate that quality. Thank you.
Sir,
Please.
it is said that the state is a machinery which would run smoothly only if all the entities involved cooperate and work together. And now we have this new Kerala Administrative Service going out into the society, and we feel that we have a lot of responsibility bestowed upon us. So my question is, sir, According to your view, which would be the pertinent areas that we as new officers could intervene in Kerala so that this machinery would run smoothly? Or to put in simple words, what are your expectations about this new Kerala Administrative Service? Thank you, sir.
Well, you as administrators, can also play a role in the formulation of the policy is essentially the job of the elected leaders. But we have an example in Kerala where an officer on his own initiative did something which had more to do with policy than executive action. He started Kutum Shri in one district of Kerala. And it became such a successful venture that the government adopted it. So I am not ruling out, I am not saying that you cannot play a role in impacting the policies or in the formulation of better policies. And when you reach the higher levels, then your input will become absolutely essential for the formulation of the policies. But in the early years, you are mostly responsible for the implementation of the policies. I'm saying it with full conviction. There is nothing wrong with our policies. We can always keep on improving them, policies and programs. The problem comes when not right kind of interference happens. And even officers are stopped from acting rightly. That is the time for you to show your spine. Stand up. I shall act according to the law. It does not matter whether I am posted in Trivandrum or in Kozhikode. I love that one sentence from Martin Luther King. And remember how important Martin Luther King was. It was because of his movement that Obama could become president of US. And Martin Luther King was very influenced by the teachings of Mahatma Gandhi. He himself has said so. I'm not trying to come to my own conclusion. He himself has said. Martin Luther King, in one of his speech, has said, all we say to America is, be true to what you say on paper. So if any pressure comes on you to deviate from what is written on the paper, that is the time for you to show your commitment, your integrity, your character. And in fact, I would go a step ahead. Much before Martin Luther King, much before. We know because Martin Luther King movement became successful movement. We try to study him. So I have this line in my mind which had deeply moved me. What a wonderful statement. I'm not asking for anything new. I'm not asking for a favor. I'm not asking for special rights. All these rights are guaranteed in the Constitution of America. When you deny these rights, you are violating the Constitution. All we say to America is, be true to what you say on paper. Can you recall something which happened in India in the state of Kerala, which and much before Martin Luther King, where the same kind of statement was made? Well, Shri Narayan Guru. Kerala is one state. Do not forget that about 100 years back, when Swami Vivekananda came here, he described Kerala society as Bhrantale. And today, I feel that the sense of equality and human dignity which normal Keralite has is not to be seen in other parts of the country. An ordinary Keralite, this transformation in about 100 years' time, it's no mean achievement. I'm sure that somebody must have knowingly, maybe Martin Luther King came to know about Shri Narayan Guru. What Shri Narayan Guru said? That we have made this proclamation. Aham Brahmasmi Tattvamasi. The same divine dwells in me and that divine dwells in you. We are all spiritually interlinked. Aham Brahmasmi. I am Brahma. This is not specific to any particular community. This is about the mankind. So he said, if you are Brahma and I am Brahma, how can you discriminate against me? And possibly Kerala is the only state in India where social transformation has happened without causing any social tension. Why? Because he did not use any foreign idea to change the Kerala society. He used a Dvaitvad, the ancient legacy of India. If we feel that this caste-based differentiation is part of our ancient legacy, we are not right. This is part of our legacy which came from the period of our decline and fall. We had, Gita clearly says, Chatur Varnyam Maya Srishtam Gun Karm Vibhagasha. Every society needs division of labor. And that is on the basis of your competence, that is on the basis of your special interest or knowledge. On that basis, division of the labor is made. There is another, if I remember correctly, Dr. Radhakrishnan has quoted it. He said, Nartako Garbha Sabhuta Vashishto Nama Maharishi Tapasa Brahmano Jata Tasmad Jatirna Karanam. Who is Brahmin? Brahmin is one who undertakes disciplined austerity, imposes discipline on herself or himself, and pursues knowledge. That tapas creates a person who is with knowledge. That does not come from the parents. In which family you are born, that does not determine your status as a knowledgeable person. But how much effort, how much striving, how much industry you put into it, that decides whether you are a man of letters, man or woman of knowledge or not. So that is my answer. Thank you very much.